The truth is an irony, just like animal farm. Justice mean inequity. So who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Christian can say silence. Islamic leaders silence. Kings and queens silence. Traditional leaders silence. So who go say the truth? We are the workers of the call. Now by area, why no better? We are the workers of the call. One guy's out here, why no better? Who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Oh, he need it now, see what I see so. Now your friend on a nine come at them. Only papi obeka na sembia. So I want one over you. Everybody was afraid. And when Tina Nantuma caught it the nine, once my boy dumping one and but who go tell the truth? Nanai or say me. Nanso bien person beka wasam because everybody is afraid. Aya safwe muayini. Akukudro for nyina dalima. Who go say the truth? Obiaja konson so to grow Germansa to me biaka kobrafo. Efo anyina ye. Efo when you know yet. Na so kutrata down na so be dia back or why no keke. I feel for the man more piafo efo no cross on my mo. Hanya safwe muayini. Akuku trofo nyina dalima. And who go say the truth? Abaya di bote chino. Yedi bi bebo nyande bi. Kachisa udi oma upipi numa. Would your mind never shine my preference? But who go tell the truth? TUC, silence. Even journalists, silence. Oh, then who go say the truth? Right is right. Wrong is wrong, no matter how you justify. You say you wanna get rid of corruption. Someone want to help you, now the person become your target. Jobless, no they mean senseless. Poverty, no they mean useless. One day, then go resist.
A beautiful evening to you once again, and it's a joy to have you on this show. Wherever you are most gratefully welcome, and you are welcome to MyView. Unfortunately, we have been away for the past 2 weeks. Thankfully, we are back, and this and every Monday at the same time, we will always be joining you. You are watching MyView live on today's Ghana News TV with me, Jerome, your host. And let me remind you as well that we are also live on Switch via satellite, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all on today's Ghana News TV. And you can also follow us on Twitter and TikTok, as well as podcasts on Anchor FM. It is a joy to have you once again, and for us to share our views. I share my view, you share your view, and we have that of our host. And together we see where it will take us to. Interestingly, in the few days, some developments have come up in our beautiful country, Ghana. What is the most intriguing part is that there are several calls from people who either were not in favor or were in favor, or what seemingly has become the cliche of the day, free senior high school. What is the issue trending about free senior high school? We woke up to find the Catholic Bishops' Conference asking for a review of the free senior high school. We woke up to hear His Grace, Most Reverend Palmer Buckle, asking for a review of the free senior high education system. We have that of the Methodist Church, Nagrat, Charles, Professor Adai Mensah, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, all calling for a review of the free senior high educational system. Unfortunately, we got the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, who also called for the review of the free senior high school. And shortly, or 2 or 3 hours before midnight on the same day, he makes a U-turn to tell us that it is only the president who can call for the review of the free senior high school. What is the way forward? Is it another set of confusion? Or simply put, the review that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama mentioned in the run-up to the 2020 election, which the current president, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, termed as NDC coming in to cancel the free senior high school, is it the same definition? Stay tuned and let's find out with our host this evening on the program. This is My View.
Waiting there happy for Africa. Dusty old men holding on to power, leading the people to where? The grave? Wicked criminal leaders. See them a come, them coming like an angel. But them a thief, them no say them a thief. Mr. President, you coming like a savior. But you a thief, you know say you a thief. Thief President, why you thieving so? Thief man, why you thief so? The people they must suffer, but you don't care so. Thief man, why you thief so? I see the people crying every day, yo. They want food, them can't find. I see the youth looking for a job, oh, every way, them can't find. Mr. President, him just barely food, oh. Him and the family, they no suffer, oh. Suffer, no poor man they suffer, oh. Suffer, rich man know they suffer. Suffer, no poor man they suffer, oh. Suffer, rich man they suffer, lie. See them a come, them coming like an angel. But them a thief, them no say them a thief. Mr. President, you coming like a savior. Why you a thief? You know say you a thief. Thief President, why you thieving so? Thief man, why you thief so? The people they must suffer, but you don't care so. Thief man, why you thief so? Mr. President, why you dey lie so? Before election, you tell me you be angel. When you sick, you run go a London. When we sick, we die for Kolebo. Mr. President, why you wicked so? Tell me how you dey sleep at night, oh. See them a come, they coming like an angel. But them a thief, them no say them a thief. Mr. President, you coming like a savior. But you a thief, you know say you a thief. Thief President, why you thieving so? Thief man, why you thief so? The people they must suffer, but you don't care so. Thief man, why you thief so? This is Mr. Traitor, Master of Sleeping. This is Mr. Traitor, Master of Sleeping. Yarambarayi Fiafiwo Alakpato
So, welcome back, and we are very grateful to have you this evening. And for our viewers also on YouTube, we are grateful that you are joining us, and together we will share our views. And it's my privilege to introduce to you no other person but Mr. Godwin Mahama Ayaba, who happens to be a member of the NDC National Communication Team. We want to find out from him and get his views on what is going on in the country, vis-a-vis what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said in the run-up to 2020 on the Free Senior High School, and what we have today, the several calls for the review. Then we'll have a look at the mid-year budget review that was presented today, that the finance minister made us understand that they have put policies in place that will help Ghana to be beyond aid. Is that the reality on the ground? But before we get to these topics, I'll let Mr. Mahama introduce himself to us so that people wouldn't be wondering who he is. And as everybody knows, we're celebrating the 10 years of the demise of His Excellency, Professor John Evans Atta Mills, the then President of the Republic of Ghana, on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress. So after that, we'll say a few words about the program that took place yesterday, and then we will delve into the main issues. So, Mr. Mahama, you are most welcome.
Thank you very much, my other brother. I'm so fortunate to be given the opportunity this evening to contribute to the political debate in our political setting in this country, Ghana. As you earlier on said, the name remains Godwin Ayaba Mahama, a member of the great NDC, National Democratic Congress Party. I'm part of the National Communication Team as well as the Regional Communication Team of the Greater Accra region, and a card-bearing member of the NDC, as you know already. So this is just a brief description about myself, and I will take advantage to tell our other colleagues who have gotten the time to listen to us this evening that if they haven't taken the pain to go and register as new members or to replace their card, because the political party NDC is engaging in two activities: replacement of old membership card and registration of new members. So if you're a member who you've held or you are holding a party card, which is an old card, an opportunity is given to you for you to get it replaced with a biometric card. If you are also a sympathizer or a member of the NDC, but haven't gotten the opportunity to get a membership card to be an identification card for you, it's also an opportunity for you to also go get to your branch where you vote or where you got registered and get registered to be a card-bearing member. It's better to be a card-bearing member than to remain just a mere member. So, my brother, thank you very much for the opportunity this evening.
It's a privilege once again. And once you rightly introduce yourself, and we are very clear that you're a member of the communication team, I'm sure you'll be in a better position now to tell us more from the NDC side of this story. But before we jump into this, our Free Senior High School review issue, how was the program yesterday in terms of the commemoration of the 10th anniversary of the demise of His Excellency Professor John Evans Atta Mills?
Let's use this opportunity to continue to remain silent, to wish the former president, late Mills, a continuous resting, and may the good Lord continue to have him in his bosom. We all know how peaceful he was, for which he was named as Sungehene. That attitude, that character, that demeanor of him remains unprecedented in the history of this country, and for which most of us are looking on that in order to be able to exhibit same character. Yesterday in the afternoon, the NDC took its turn in the commemoration of the 10th anniversary of the passing of the former president, late Evans Atamos, after the supposed, in quote, government in collaboration with CODA and other NGO sought to do theirs in the morning. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it because I was in class, but I followed because it was aired live on some media outlets and on social media. We had in the presence the former president and the incoming president of the Republic of Ghana, God willing, 7th January 2025, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, present there. We had the 2024 running mate, the first female running mate in the history of this country politically. Professor Jane Nana Opoku Agyemang was also there. The minority caucus of parliament led by Honorable Haruna Idrisu, supported by some comrades and MPs, i.e. Okujeto Ablakwa, Honorable Suini, and a host of them. Former appointees were there. I saw the likes of Fifi Kwete. I saw the likes of Alex Sebefia and the rest. So a lot of people, a lot of sympathizers, NDC members actually showed love yesterday at the program. And the NDC had no option than to do it better because he is our own. And fortunately too, we had the family joining the NDC's program, particularly the son of the former president, late Evans Atamos, was also there. Traditionally or customarily, you know very well that when it comes to the dead, you can't do anything in the exclusion of the family. Because customarily, we, in Ghanaian setting, we respect and hold custom in high esteem. So when you even read the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, Article 11, it states specifically the laws of this country and mentions customary law. So the NDC followed, respected, and accorded respect to the customary of Ghana by collaborating, inviting, and working hand in hand with the family. It was great. It was an opportunity for everybody to be there. But as I said, we couldn't go there. So this is how it all happened. We have no option than to do what we did. We'll all one day join our maker. But until then, we have to continue to celebrate the death of some prominent people. A country that do not honor its heroes is not worth dying for. So we have to continue to honor our heroes. And one of them is the former president, late Evans Atamos. So that's basically what transpired. It was good, it was nice. And I think people can still go back online and have a full video of what transpired yesterday.
Oh, that was lovely. Once we, obviously, if the family joined the NDC to do it, it was rightfully in order. And I will continue to pray that His Excellency, the soul of his former president, would rest in perfect peace. Having said that, now let's move on to the trending topic. Everybody is calling for a review of Free Senior High School, Others are saying that there is food shortage, schools might be closed down, what have you. There are no textbooks. We're running a traffic system. In a run-up to the 2020 election, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama made a statement, or probably let me just say the NDC made a statement that if the good people of Ghana happens to have given them the mandate, the Free Senior High School was going to be reviewed. Having said that, we got His Excellency the President and his party, the MPP, came up with a very big argument or information to the people or to the voters, the ordinary Ghanaian on the street, that what the NDC meant by reviewing the Free Senior High School system was that when NDC comes into office, they would cancel it. Today, all these key people that I mentioned in the introduction the Catholic Bishops' Conference, Archbishop Palmer Buckle, those key people around the MPP or around the current government are all asking that this free senior high school be reviewed. Notably, the Director General of GES, Professor Wankwa, did say that they were ready to support the review of the free senior high school to see which components would be relegated to the parents to support. Within a short period of time, he came out with a statement denying that he never said he was going to review it, or they were not prepared to review it, because they are just an implementation body and not a policy formulation body. Today, here we are. The 2020 running mate of the NDC, Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman, has made a statement that the NDC said they were going to review, and MPP said it meant cancellation. Now that they are calling for a review, we want to listen to their definition. What do you think is the issue at stake currently and the way forward?
My brother, thank you very much. Education is a very important economic sector in every country, and every country that sought to build its human capital must not joke, play with its education. That is why, as part of our fundamental human rights, as enshrined in the 1992 Constitution, specifically Chapter 5, talks about fundamental human rights and freedom, which include the right to education. The same 1992 Constitution made mention of progressively free education. So let's take notice of these two preamble that I have set. There is a saying that when your mother is dead and you go around telling people your mother is asleep, the day your dead mom begins to rot, everybody will hear the smell. That one, we wouldn't expect to ask you whether your mom is dead or your mom isn't dead. The reality will be the fact that the body is smelling. In an Akan language, they will say, "Oh, mami you, na se ose wada, o sha se obonga ye ni na yebete." This whole free SHS debate came at a time where every Ghanaian had seen how the program was implemented. As I said, the Constitution talks about progressively free. So in the wisdom of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he decided to go in accordance with how the Constitution stipulated progressively free. So in the year 2015-2016 academic year, John Mahama initiated the progressively free education. At the same time, the MPP had promised to do free SHS. Lo and behold, they won the 2016 election. And when they came, decided to abandon their constitutional provision of progressively free, and they did a wholesale of giving every child who was entering the SHS a free education, leaving even the Form 2s and the Form 3s. So we studied this whole thing for some time. And let me tell you one, the government itself has admitted in countless occasions that there are problems. 2, it is because there are problems, that is why they introduced the double track system. Because the double track system was brought in to solve a problem. If there was no problem, they would have continued with the normal stream system that you and I had always seen and gotten ourselves engaged in. So we got to a time where now it is crystal clear that all stakeholders, including directors, Videos are showing clearly from our secondary schools where children are struggling over food. Headmasters are crying. Wesley girls, there was a report that the ladies have now gotten to a point of breaking into people's chobosics because of lack of food. So the components that are supposed to sustain the free SHS, i.e., the giving out of capitation grants, so that the headmasters can base on it to manage the schools, the monies are not going. 2, the buffer stock, where we are supposed to stock our foods and distribute them to the respective secondary schools to be used as feeding for our children. As we speak, there is a great shortage in food stock at the buffer stock. 3, textbooks that are supposed to be delivered to our various schools for teachers and the students to use as part of teaching and learning materials are still in arrears. They have not been able to provide those items. So when you bring all this together, the NDC are not just speaking, neither is the NDC just trying to punch holes into the policies of the MPP. But we have taken a critical look at how the free SHS is being run, where parents are complaining, stakeholders being the head teachers, the parents, the management body are also complaining. Videos and footages that are all coming out. There is a clear indication that we need to have a second look at the running of the free SHS system. So His Excellency John Dramani called on a review. It is only, sorry for me to say, somebody who wants to be mischievous, who wants to play propaganda or throw dust into the eyes of the people, that decided to redefine the meaning of a review. A review do not and cannot mean cancellation. Review basically means that let us have a roundtable discussion, stakeholder consultation, do what we call introspection of what has been implemented for the past years, to look at its pros and cons, so that we can look at the loopholes and fill them where the need be, and where we are supposed to cut some off, we cut it off. And it is all in the betterment of our educational sector. Because when you look at this educational structure or system that was bequeathed to this particular government, it was a very strong educational sector where, when it comes to the EMS, English, Maths, and Science, we had 1:1. Each child got the opportunity to have one textbook of English, Mathematics, and Science, as against what we came to meet where we had 5 school pupils using one textbook. When it comes to infrastructure, John Mahama implemented the infrastructure development program, for which, as part of it, he was building the 200E blocks. At the same time, he was also refurbishing some schools, some existing schools blocks that were outmoded, out of use, were in a deplorable state. He was trying to bring them into modernity so that the student can have some good enabling environment in it to learn. But today, what do we see? The government has abandoned all those projects, i.e. the 200E blocks. The government has refused to send textbooks, and virtually the school has come to a halt. I need not to be the one telling the people of Ghana or your listeners. What I sought to do is just to reiterate the reality that we can all see. I'm not the one saying it. Neither am I the one propagating what is happening. I'm not the one conjuring stories. But these are realities. The Director of Education currently, if you are not aware, let me tell your listeners, The CHAS, in collaboration with the school management, has issued a statement saying that they have put on hold all co-curricular activities in our secondary schools. And when we say co-curricular activities, as a trained teacher as I am, it is part of our learning process. In education, we have curricular and co-curricular activities. The curricular ones are those that happens in the classroom, and the co-curricular ones are those ones that happens outside the classroom, which are all part of our teaching and learning process. Yes, because you must have co-curricular activities in order to train the mind, the body, the spirit, and everything. Because education is about the whole body, not only the mind. So today, they have put on hold our historic National Science and Maths quiz competition that we have all enjoyed. I think I grew up to meet National Science and Maths quiz. I never thought a day would come that a government, due to their incompetence, recklessness, uselessness, could let us put on hold National Science and Maths quiz. 2, sporting activities has been put on hold. We all know the importance of sporting activities. We all know it is part of the process we use in training our young ones doing the juvenile football so that they can grow to join our national teams. Now it has been put on hold. 2, culture competition in our schools has also been put on hold. The culture is an avenue where we train our young ones, imbibe in them our culture as a country. And sometimes they do culture play, they do dancing, choreography, and other stuffs. They have all been put on hold. Virtually everything that falls under co-curricular activities today has been put on hold just because we don't have the resources. The cash, the liquid is not there. But we have a government that has decided not to speak the truth to the people of Ghana. And that is why we are at where we are now. That is why we are at where we are now. I remember when I was teaching, I once taught religious and moral education, and I taught repentance. For one to repent, he must first admit his fault. If you don't admit your sin or your fault, you can't repent. And that is basically what the government is doing. They don't want to admit their flaws. Neither do they want to admit that they have done something that it has gone the long way to affecting all of us as a country. So let us admit, come to a round table with stakeholders. There is no proper administration. There is no proper governance that we would be implementing anything without taking into consideration stakeholders. It is only under this government that I can see that they don't respect stakeholder consultation because they think they are only the government bunch of knowledge. Nobody, and I repeat, nobody is a master of knowledge. That is why they said in the Akan language that wumeni suma minti and achimi nunam. So that anytime there is problem, the other can direct the other. And they said also in the Akan language their ocha asano onim senechi achia. Whoever is making the path or creating the path may not know how crooked the path is unless somebody standing behind him is the only person who could see that the path you are creating is either straight or it's not in the right direction. And those people are the stakeholders. Those people are the opposition. Those people are every Ghanaian that the constitution allows us to speak when we think things are not going well. So my brother, in conclusion, our educational sector is not in a better state at all. And I was even surprised when the finance minister came today on the floor to do the budget review, could not tell us anything about how we are going to find solution to the problems happening in our schools, which we are aware, lack of food, lack of resources, lack of teaching and learning materials. He couldn't tell us anything. The only thing they continue to do is to sing praises to themselves, that there is no way we are going to do any review. We are going to have a second look at the thing. My brother. So if the thing is not going on well, you can't see, you can't hear, you can't smell. Why are all their senses dead?
Yeah, that's what I was even going to ask you a question, because in your submission, you made a statement that they brought in the double track, or they implemented a double track to solve a problem. If they brought in to solve a problem, maybe you saw it as a problem. They might not have seen it. What was that problem that you think that the double track was implemented to solve?
No, the double track was there to solve the issue of student facility usage ratio, because they had admitted more than the availability facilities.
So does that mean they did not take all this into consideration before the implementation of
all part of our reasons for saying that we need to do a review? See, this government has always been a very deceitful government, and not this government alone as a government, but a political party called the MPP has always been a deceitful government. Let me tell you, under the era of former President Kufuor, he did a review of our secondary education, if you remember.
Yes, and under the Theophilus Anamwa Mensah's committee.
Yes, Anamwa Mensah's committee. Go and read that committee. When the committee was set, as part of their recommendation, they looked at the existing school structure and the new proposal that was coming on board. The proposal at a point in time said that there is a need for us to maintain the system he came to meet. But the administration decided to ignore the committee's report and went ahead to implement the 4-year system without taking into cognizance the infrastructure deficit that was supposed to, or was going to befall the country. Because the 4 years, we didn't build any structure to accommodate them. So the structure that was accommodating the 3-year system was the same structure we were using to accommodate the 4-year system. How possible can this be? But they went ahead and implemented it. And most of our children, our brothers and sisters, were sleeping in the classrooms. They were dining under trees. They were learning under trees. Until Kufuor's government changed, former President Mills' government came, the late Mills of blessed memory came, and we did what we called, I think, a rapid infrastructure program.
Yeah.
In order to be able to hold our case, which most of them were more or less a temporary structure, whilst we revert the system into the 3 years program. Because already there were admitted students who had already been enrolled in the 4-year system. So until they complete, there's no way we could revert to the normal system. So we needed to make an infrastructure program available for those who are supposed to go to the 4 years. So that's what we did. That's why our time, you didn't hear issues of this nature. So John Dramani Mahama, what he did was that he didn't want to go back to what happened to us under former President Kufuor for not looking at the infrastructure system of our educational sector before implementing free SHA, because it is a trite knowledge that so long as it is free, the numbers will gallop, enrollment will go high. So we have to look at classroom infrastructure, dormitory infrastructure, dining infrastructure, laboratory infrastructure, and the rest. And that is why, in his wisdom, he started the e-blocks and also decided to build upon some existing structures in our existing schools. This government, because of propaganda mischief, and they always think Ghanaians don't read, and you keep hearing them, Ghanaians don't read. But for them being smart, they wouldn't say Ghanaians, they would say NDC don't read. Well, NDC people are Lebanese or they are Egyptians. And because they know Ghanaians don't read and they think it's only people who are in the MPP that reads, they came to implement the same thing Kufuor did. And that is why we are at where we are. And they have decided to hold all the headmasters, crippled them, held on them that woe betides them. Should they complain? If you have opportunity, you can one day interview some headmasters in our second cycle. Try to put a cover on their faces. And you hear reality issues. Because most of them doesn't want to lose their jobs. In Ghana, before you become a headmaster in the secondary school, you are approaching your 50s and your 60s. And so they all want to protect their job. You know, Ghana coming by job this time is not an easy thing. So job security is also another thing. So they will always keep quiet. But the reality is that things are not working on well. We thought 6 years on. By now, the government would have finished completing the e-blocks they came to meet, because out of the 200, John Mahama started 123. He completed in full about 46, which was captured in the transition report that we handed over to this government, which Napo, the former education minister, was the one that represented the government during the transition period. 46 and about 73 was also in other stages. It was only left for them to put in furniture. Some they were just supposed to just put in finishes to it. That was all. But they are still being left in the bush. So we thought by now they could finish and also implement. My brother, do you know they also promised to construct 300 secondary schools from scratch?
Which within the first 18 months in office.
No, not the first 18 months. They said they will finish 300. I don't think there was a timeline attached to it. You even
they gave a timeline. They said that within the first 18 months in office, they were going to construct 300 senior high schools from the scratch.
So you see, and they are in their seat here. Not even a block has been laid. Not even a block has been laid. So we thought at least if they were not able to even finish, if they are not able to even start day years, they could even complete the ones they came to meet that didn't need much time, didn't need much resources to be able to complete. Sorry. So my brother, in short, what we need to do as a people is to continue to speak and put the government on its toes. I know of schools that, due to how powerful, how united, and how strong their parent-teacher associations are, they have now agreed to pay some tokens to support in the feeding of their wards, because they cannot sit to look at the government put their children into that hectic, that unexpected, that inhuman act. So some are paying 500. There are some schools they are paying 500, 5 million old Ghana cedis. There are some schools the parents are paying 1,000, 10 million Ghana cedis. And these are all realities of things that are happening. It is not me, Godwin Ayaba Mahama, who is supposed to say it. But the parents are those. So if you are in a school where your PTA is not strong, neither is the PTA united, or they don't have a lot of backing to whatever they want to do, then you are left in the hands of the government, waiting for them to bring food before you eat, waiting for them to bring resources before the headmasters can manage them. And we can't go that way. We can't go that way. One thing the government did, my brother, I can tell you on authority, it's not the best. It's trying to even tell parents that if willingly they so wish to pay dues in the name of PTA to support certain petty things, they shouldn't. Why are they not stakeholders? Don't they have say? Why do we call them stakeholders? For the first time, we have PTA that is very redundant, because when you go for meeting and you suggest anything, the thing should be off money. If only it's about money, then that thing can never be implemented. Why? Why? All because you want to achieve your flagship program at the detriment of the country's education. For Christ's sake, this government has failed us, continue to fail us, but do not want to speak the truth. A government of deceit, government of lies, and government of propaganda. Nothing more and nothing less.
There's a statement that when the party is in opposition, you seem to have the solution to all the problems. But when you come into office, then all the solutions disappear. Samuel, let's look at it. What would NDC have done differently? Because if you look at the implementation of the the free educational system, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama started with the first years, moved them to the second year, and unfortunately, we did not get to the third year when you people left office. And even in going in that systematic process, it was more for the senior, the day students who had a chunk of their things taken. For those who were in boarding house, it was not all the fees that were captured. So it was a systematic process. Probably that would have helped NDC as you go along to expand your revenue base to be able to cater for the entire system. Unfortunately, you are not in government. You are busy criticizing the current government. What will NDC do differently? With respect to your manifesto that you presented to Ghanaians during the 2020 election, what would have been different?
So you see, the assertion that when we are in opposition, we sought to know everything, but when we are in government, we do nothing. That assertion cannot be true. And I need to debunk it with no uncertainty.
Good.
Or without any fear of contradiction. Because the NDC has a past record and the NPP has a past record. This is the time for us to compare records and leave those assertions that because we are in opposition, that's what we are saying. We have done it before. So it is not like we don't have track record of what we are doing. In the educational sector, I have told you, when it comes to provision of TLMs, we did fantastically well. When it comes to infrastructure, historically, no government can come close to the government of the NDC when it comes to infrastructure in our educational sector. See, what we would have done differently, as captured in our People's Manifesto, is that one, we promised to come and cancel in the first 100 days of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama the double track system, so that we will revert to our normal stream system, where all Form 1s will be in school at the same time, same to Form 2s and same to Form 3s. And this is something we have done before, just opposing, as I did, with the era of former President Kufuor, where he introduced the 4-year system and couldn't make provisions for any infrastructure to accommodate the 4-year students. We came to power and was able to find solution to that problem. So we've done it before. 2, under our big push program was to go into massive infrastructure development. And when it comes to infrastructure, that is why today most people are calling John Dramani Mahama the infrastructure king. He is a man who says it and delivers. So we would have gone into massive infrastructure project by completing all existing projects that has been abandoned by this government, and also complete what if they have started some and couldn't complete, we would have completed all of them, which would have included the completion of our e-blocks and continue. As I told you, we started 170, 123, and it was left with, I think, 167. It was left with 67. So we would have completed that one as well. And we would have also built on the science and math education by adding on and building laboratories in our various secondary schools. And as I told you, because we were having what we call a progressively free education, we would have brought the children on board gradually, whilst we still look at a sustainable means of resource, financial resource, that we could channel it directly for the financing of our free SHS. Today, If you ask them, they either tell you they are using oil funds. At a point in time, they are using borrowed funds. At another point in time, they are using this. We don't have any specific financial model that we are using in financing our free SHS program. And that is what the NDC would have looked at, because finances in terms of policies of this nature must not be joked with. We must have a sustainable source of finance. And I repeat, sustainable source of finance, so that the monies can be disbursed as and when it is needed in order to manage our schools, make available TLMs, and make available foods to feed our children. You cannot learn on an empty stomach.
That is very true.
On an empty stomach. And neither can you also learn in an environment that is conducive. If you're a teacher and you go to training college, as part of your methodology, you will be taught that the children need a good environment, a sound environment, a conducive environment to be able to learn. So, brother, this is what the NDC would have done. We have a track record of it. It's not a new thing. And I know Ghanaians trust Ghanaians trust the NDC for that. That when we say we will do it, we'll do it. We have a track record from the times of Rollins to the times of late Mills, and even to the time of John Dramani Mahama. And that is why he's always been called the infrastructure king. He's the only person who comes after the former president, Kwame Nkrumah, when it comes to infrastructure development. As for that one, we'll give it to Nkrumah. But John Dramani Mahama comes after our first president of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Well, before we'll move away from education, because where we are, we will continue to talk about it, yet this present government will do nothing about the system. Why do I say so? During the mid-year budget review today, the finance minister made it clear that the free secondary and TVET education are not under review. In that sense, they will continue with it. And it's taking a chunk of our GDP for the funding of this free senior high school, because there is no policy document on it. But before we now run away from this topic and then look at the mid-year budget and the IMF and the consequences, the government of the day in the run-up to the 2020 election seems to have had a better communication than your party, the NDC. Why do I say so? They were able to go to the various remotest villages to tell the people that if NDC comes into office, you were going to cancel the free senior high school and parents will be forced to pay fees. Those in the remotest areas did not realize the implication of whatever they needed to even use to support their wards in schools. The NDC, on the other hand, excuse me to say, failed to tell the same voters at those remotest places that your review is not about cancellation, but about making it better and more efficient. Because if an educational system is not efficient, then it's as useless as not even being implemented. What is the NDC going to do differently this time?
My brother, it is not like the NDC couldn't speak, explain, or talk to the people of Ghana to the extent for them to understand that the review never meant cancellation. We did our possible best. We explained it in the best of our knowledge. But this is where we are after the NPP decided to use money and other means to convince them to mean a different thing. Time, they say, is the best judge. And today, what they said meant cancellation. It is their own people who are using the same word in relation to the same free SHS. So the issue is that going by what they said to the people of Ghana, that review means cancellation, are they also telling us that they are going to cancel it? In inference, that is what it means. That is what it means. You get me? So going forward, I know Ghanaians are awake time has exposed a lot of lies that the NPP peddled prior to the 2020 elections. And that is why these days, when you see people like the vice president speak, people don't listen to him. And those that listens to him don't take him serious. People continue to laugh and mock at him anytime he speaks. Because Ghanaians have come to realize that almost everything they said were full of lies. And now they don't need a liar to talk to them again. What they need now is to look at the reality. It's not about words. So what is the reality? They said under John Mahama, the fuel price was galloping, was too much. But as at that time, we were buying a gallon of fuel in Ghana around 15, 16, and 17 Ghana cedi, depending on the pump that you go. Today, what is our fuel situation? A gallon has gone past 50 Ghana cedis. And I know you are aware. They spoke about the fact that it's only a mark of an incompetent leader that could let us have an exchange rate where if you have $1, you could exchange 4 cedi, 20 pesos of the Ghanaian cedis. Today, if you have the same $1, you are exchanging in double of what you could exchange under John Dramani Mahama's time. So today, the exchange rate, if you have $1, you exchange more than 8 Ghana cedis. How do we describe them today? What is the debt to GDP? They spoke about it and said John Dramani Mahama's debt to GDP was unprecedented. It has never happened bad in the history of Ghana. But as at that time, rebasing, our debt to GDP stood at 56%. Today, our debt to GDP, as exposed by the IMF, is around 90%. Right? I hope you're aware of it. But they told us it's around 70-something%. But the IMF came to let us know the reality that our debt to GDP is around 90%. They said John Mahama had overborrowed than any other government. Let me tell you, John Mahama borrowed about 80 billion during his time. The NDC came into office in the year 2008, where former President Kufuor left the legacy debt standing at 9 billion. Former President Mills borrowed around 27 billion in addition. That sent us to about 30-something billion. Then John Mahama came to add 84 billion. So when you add 84 to 37 billion, you will get 120.
Oh, I'm sure there is a technical hitch, and I hope my producer will have a look at it. Whilst the producer works on that, we'll take the comments from our viewers wherever they are, and all the comments that have come in. We will gratefully go through them, and then we see. Patience Daku, once again, good evening, sir. Watching you from Hamburg, Germany. Patience, great to have you once again. Grace Talks, watching you from Stuttgart. Oh, Tafik, Zoo from Mönchengladbach. Grateful that you have joined us this evening. NDC Diaspora Union, kudos comrades for the good job you are doing for our great party. Well, the guest is doing greatly for your party. We pray that when NDC comes to power, things will change. Nanata from good evening, watching you from Tatali. Please put more fire on this useless Akufo-Addo regime. I pray that the fire will continue and they will listen to wherever it's coming from. Promo Africa, a very educative program. I love the presentation and the host. Thank you very much, my boss, for joining us this evening. Oh, Mike, from all the way from Hanover. Good evening, my boss, and then your guests. We are grateful that, Mike, you have joined us. You say you're almost late, but you haven't missed a lot, so at least you are part and parcel of the program this evening. Oh, Mr. David Ankra, Essen, good evening. We are grateful that you have joined us, and lovely to see you online. I pray you always be with us. Oh, my goodness. Gifty, boss Jerome, well done. Thank you very much for showing up this evening. I hope you join us every week and every Monday so that we share our views together. Oh, my big brother, Alfred, this government is just arrogant, fanatic. That one is very true because they will never admit whatever happens or whatever wrong they have done. Mabia Damba, sometimes I blame our NDC MPs too. Woo. Okay, we will look at it again and see the impact of the NDC MPs in the parliament and what they are doing Kweku Ade says, watching you from Amsterdam, Holland. Good show. We are very grateful for always being part and parcel of the program. Hey, Ahunfe Patricia, more fire. I think the fire will definitely follow. Good evening, comrades. We are grateful that you have joined us. Oh, Dr. Na is right here. Good evening. Great show. We are grateful that you are part and parcel of the show. Your presence always gives us a lot of encouragement. Mr. Ankra, I dey watch you cool. Our guest is on top of his game. That one is very true. At least Mr. Mama has always been on point. We pray that we'll continue to have him many more days coming. So whilst we wait for him to join, I think at the beginning of this whole show, we talked about the demise of His Excellency, our former president, and a notice coming in indicates that the NDC Germany Dag Verband would be meeting in Frankfurt on the 13th of next month to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the death of former President Mills, and they will have a grill party as well. And all members should contact their various branches for more details. And there would be an opportunity for those who haven't registered for their new digital ID card to do so. They only need to come with 2 passport pictures and the filled membership form from their various branch secretaries. So I hope that when you meet in Frankfurt, you will invite all of us to be part of the show. So wherever you are, remember NDC Germany will be meeting in Frankfurt on the 13th of August. So now I will bring in back our guest, Mr. Mahama, and we want to look at it where he was just using our figures to show where Ghana is in terms of our financial stand. And that will take us right into our issues with the IMF. Today I was going to ask you about your impressions of the mid-year review budget review presented by the Minister of Finance. Unfortunately, the presentation has been done already, so we only have to look at some of the things that has come up. Especially, he says that the IMF statements have captured the true state of our economy. The IMF have captured the true state of our economy. Does that mean that we were giving certain, let me say, fake state of our economy, or what's the implication?
Yeah, my brother, I was waiting. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. We're live.
I was waiting for you to draw the conclusion for myself and your listeners, because for him to say that the IMF has given us the true reflection of our economy, then it presupposes that as a finance minister and also the vice president being the head of the economic management team has always not given us the true and proper reflection of how the economy of this country is faring. And I think your guess may be as good as mine and maybe as good as our listeners and viewers. So everybody should pass his or her own judgment, but that is the true reflection. But my brother, you see, today, as a constitutional provision, the finance minister is supposed to give us a mid-year budget review. So the question would be, or the question people will ask is that, when we say mid-year budget review, what does it mean? Let's take the key word, review. What review means is that you have brought a budget to Parliament. They have appropriated through the appropriation bill for you to go and expend. So an opportunity is given to you to come back in the middle of the year to tell the people of Ghana how the budget is faring, how much you have appropriated, how much is left, whether you have met your targets or not. Then at the end, you tell the people of Ghana what next. But what the finance minister came to do is just to tell us what next, without telling us how the 2020 budget is faring. But he was smart to do it in a very nice way that if you are not smart, you wouldn't know. And he did that because all their targets have not been achieved, which is a mark of incompetence, which is a mark of bad governance. Because when you set a target and you are not able to achieve it, what it automatically means is that you have failed, right, my brother? I hope that's the right form of judgment.
Okay.
Please,
But I'm
can you
pretty
hear
sure
me?
there's a time frame for them to capture, to be able to get their targets.
No, so if that is the case, why do you come and review the target? If the time you gave yourself to achieve hasn't elapsed, or when the efficient of time hasn't catch up with your target, why do you review them?
No,
The fact that you review them tells you have realized that you cannot achieve them.
Okay.
Yes, because if you can achieve them, then you have to leave it there, right? No, if
you have milestones. You have set up to achieve certain targets by the close of the year. You have within the year, you have the first quarter of the year, you want to achieve A, B, C, D, and you expect to go the second quarter and then the third quarter.
Sure.
So if within the second quarter you realize that you need some more power to be able to get to certain targets, then that one you come back and then you have to tell us the targets that you have achieved already. I don't know whether he gave any targets that have been achieved.
That's what I'm saying. He came to bundle with West as usual, just to confuse us. Because if you look at one, they have sought to review their overall real GDP growth, which stood in the 22 budget for them to achieve at 5.8%. They wanted to achieve a GDP growth of 5.8%. Because they cannot achieve it, they have now reviewed it downwards to achieve 3.7%. Even that, time will tell whether they can achieve it or not. Do you get me? Two,
okay.
They decided to also review the end of period inflation, which the end of period inflation as we speak, what they decided to achieve a single digit inflation of 8.0%. That was what was captured in the 2022 budget, that they will achieve a single digit inflation of 8%. Today, inflation is at 28.5%.
No, the finance minister reported 29.8.
29. Okay. So what it even means that what I'm even trying to be charitable to them.
You are very charitable.
Yes, and I've also reviewed their fiscal deficit from 7.9%. Now they sought to achieve 6.6% at the end of the year. So they have also reviewed that one too downwards. What I'm saying is that one, they have failed to achieve all their targets. That is why they are reviewing. And Ghanaians expected him to tell us. He decided not to tell us. Two, when you read the mid-year budget review, the finance minister didn't capture it. Go to appendix 2A. I think in paragraph, I forgot about appendix 2A. He didn't read there. But when you read, you realize that the Bank of Ghana is printing money to the government without recourse to Parliament, which is not the practice. They are doing so because when they go to the bond market, they are not getting money. All our source of money in terms of where we get our borrowing, grant, and other things have all ceased. So we are not getting cash. So now they are using the back door to let the Bank of Ghana print cash for them. At least let them follow procedure and due process. But they are doing it at the back door. 3, you see, the finance minister never came to speak to the people of Ghana. He spoke to himself and his government. Because the things Ghanaians expected to hear from the media budget review is not what we heard. See, let me tell you something, my brother. The media budget review is to review, as I said earlier, on the budget and look at how we can look at problems in the country and solve them. The finance minister couldn't admit any problem in the economy. And that is why he told us that nothing is going to be done about the free SHS. Even with the fact that the reality has dawned on us that they have put on hold all co-curricular activities, some schools have started paying through the PTA. He said they will still maintain the status quo, the bad status quo. He's saying they will still maintain it. 2, today as we speak, there are videos of our nursing training sisters and brothers fighting over food in the dining halls just because their allowances has not been sent. They have not been paid their allowances for the past 15 months and us. So they don't have the resources. And the money that's supposed to be sent to the schools for the headmasters or the proprietors to use to manage the schools are also not going. So the small food that comes, they fight over it. Supply and demand. The supply is small and the demand is high. So demand is going for fewer boosts, and that is why they have to fight over food. 3, we have an unemployment rate. They didn't tell us anything about unemployment rate. He kept repeating Ghana Care. Ghana Care. What is Ghana Care? Is Ghana Care? They kept repeating it in all their budgets for the past 3 years now. I don't know how care the Ghana is going to be cared. That anytime Ghana Care program. But they have never realized it. He didn't talk about the unemployment. He only spoke about how many people they have employed. That they have employed in 2021, about 80-something thousand. In all, they have employed 200,000. But what I'm saying is that, granted that the numbers he's mentioning are true, the unemployment rate under this current government is higher than the unemployment rate under John Mahama. Do you get me? So the unemployment rate keeps going high. And we thought you could come and put to bear some strategies, some plans and programs so we can hold the unemployment rate. Because see, the more the youth keeps being unemployed, the more it becomes a security threat to the nation, because the day they will explode, they will come after you and I, who calls ourselves politicians. 3, we thought he could come and tell us measures put in place in order to reduce the rate at which we are borrowing. So that he could give us other source of income. Because the reason why we went to IMF is the fact that the country do not have money. We do not have money. So we thought the rate at which our rate of borrowing is going high, he could bring measures to tell the people of Ghana that we are going to block a certain loopholes so that we will cut the rate of borrowing and look at this side to raise revenue. He didn't. That means that they will continue to borrow. 3, I thought he was going to give Ghanaians a certain hope on how we are going to arrest the dollar so that our exchange rate will be better. And let me quote the vice president. He said, when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. The vice president sought to define the economy of Ghana using the exchange rate. And his conclusion was that when your exchange rate is bad, the economy is bad.
Yeah, but before you even go ahead to talk about arresting the dollar, we have been made to understand that the dollar has been arrested, put in cells, and the keys given to the IGP. What kind of arrest are you talking about again?
When you arrest a culprit or a victim, or when a victim accused is convicted, and that accused breaks tail, you need to go back and look for that convicted person and rearrest him again, right?
Yeah.
Yes. We can leave the convict who hasn't finished serving his jail term to go around freely. It's against the law. So if indeed they arrested the dollar or the CD, as they made us to understand and gave the keys to the IGP, then the dollar has break jail, and we need to go back and look for the dollar, rearrest the dollar, because it is the only way we can use to define our economy, as the vice president made us to understand. And today we have a worse exchange rate regime, which when you have $1, you exchange close to, I think 8 cedis. Last week, it was around 8 cedi, 25 pesos, which is very, very bad. That is why food and prices has gone up. So I thought, as the media budget review, he could tell us the policies and plans, measures put in place, so that the exchange rate, at least we can do something about it. My brother, if we don't sit to look for measures to strengthen our cedi, food prices will keep dropping. Because Ghana, we are import dependent. We are import dependent, and we don't import using our Ghana cedi. We need to exchange to the foreign currency in order to import. So when our cedi devalues, that means you need more cedi to be able to exchange $1. And when you do that and you import the things into the country, you have no option than to add the difference to your goods for the consumer to bear the cost. So it is very, very important that we expected them to tell us the measures they were putting in place to work on our exchange rate, because the exchange rate is bad. The next point that we thought they could do was the fuel price. Fuel is also another commodity that when it goes high, eventually everything in the country goes high. So we thought they would tell us that. And he never said anything about it. The only thing the finance minister did was to do what they know how to do best. That for the past 6 years, they continue to do. And what am I trying to say? One, blaming His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Because if you listen to the finance minister, he kept referring today to 2016. Referring today to 2016. And whoever heard him will know that what I'm saying is the truth. In 2016, John Dramani Mahama was the president. So 6 years, the finance minister is still comparing themselves to John Mahama. Vice president, anytime he gets opportunity, continue to blame John Mahama. The president, anytime he gets opportunity, continue to blame John Mahama. Hey, so why do we change? Why there was the need for change? So that's what the finance minister did. That is 1. 2, what he did that they know how to do best is to put the blame on the COVID, which he did.
But he even agreed. He said the IMF stated how the Russia-Ukraine war affected the country as we try to revive from the effects of COVID.
Don't worry, I'll go there. 3, they also put the blame on Russia-Ukraine war. You see, go and look at our economic figures prior to the coming into this world, the COVID pandemic. We were not doing well. Fuel price was still galloping. Ask any fuel expert or those who have really taken the pain to observe that trajectory of fuel increase. Fuel was still going high. Prices of goods were still galloping. Things were not working. So COVID has not done anything. The only thing COVID has done, and my brother, let me repeat, the only thing COVID has done is that COVID has done good to Ghana than bad. It has done good to Ghana than bad. COVID gave Ghana over 34 billion. When they were bringing the e-levy, which they told us was the panacea to Ghana's problem, that when you have headache, e-levy could solve it. If you cannot take care of your wife, e-levy will do that for you. If your mother cannot work, e-levy will do that. They said we should accept e-levy before they can distribute fertilizer to our farmers. We should accept e-levy before they can send money to free SHS program. We should accept e-levy before they can employ. But e-levy was just giving us approximately 7 billion. So if they had 34 billion under all in the name of COVID and couldn't change everything, what was the guarantee that e-levy could change something? So I'm not surprised the e-levy has fallen flat or has been thrown to the dogs and nothing is good is coming out of it. But That is the amount of money that we had in the name of COVID. And last time the finance minister went to present the expenditure on COVID, he told us they have spent 12 billion. If my memory sets me right and I stand to be corrected, 12 billion. So strike the difference and you realize that the Ghana made a profit, right? Tell me, if you had 34 or close to 30 billion and your expenditure indicate that you spent 12 billion, haven't you had profit?
Yeah, that's profit.
2, the COVID fund that was created in this country for individuals and other institutions to willingly contribute to the fund, which is the COVID fund, which was held by the former, I think,
Chief Justice.
Former Chief Justice. She recently said that she really told us the amount of money they have used, and equally told us that some are left, right? There is a balance. So COVID has given us a lot. COVID has even given us more than what our so-called e-levy had given us. So if they tend to tell you that COVID was disaster, yes, maybe because it has taken human life, which human life cannot be valued in terms of putting value on human life. I agree. But in terms of impacting the economy, we had enough to be able to hold the economy. COVID can never be an excuse. On the Russian-Ukraine issue, when you talk, they will tell you that is the reason why prices of goods and services have gone high. That is why fuel has gone high. That's why CD has also depreciated. Russian currency is still very strong. And it's one of the best currencies in the world now. So the country that is creating the war, its currency is very strong. You who is at the peripheral of the war, is the one saying that war is affecting your city. That cannot be true. And 2, I ask myself, under the planting of food and jobs that they gave to us, were we supposed to import plantain? Were we supposed to import maize? Were we supposed to import kobe, momone? Were we supposed to import tomatoes and things? All these things were brought so that in times like this, we'll have self-sufficient food for ourselves. So because they are planting of food and jobs hasn't yielded its needed result, and it has collapsed. That's why they are telling us that because of Ukraine and Russia war, food and prices have gone high. But the question is, do we import plantain from Ukraine or Russia? Do we import maize from Russia or Ukraine? Do we import kobe, momone, tomatoes, jenny from Russia and Ukraine? These excuses cannot wash. The last point is on fuel. They said because of fuel, what other countries has taken bold steps to stop buying fuel from Russia, because other producing countries have made themselves available for countries to deal with them, which you are aware. So is it a straight jacket thing that we have to continue to buy from Russia? That is the first point. 2, Russia-Ukraine, aside its minimal effect, which I have to agree to, has also done good to this country than bad. See, in the last budget that was read by Ken Oforiatta, Ghana, we also produce crude oil. So we budgeted to sell $60 per barrel of our crude outside this country. And go and read the budget. It is stated explicitly in it, 60,000 barrels to our neighboring or foreign countries. Due to the Russian-Ukraine war, the price of crude rose to about $120,000 to $130,000, which you are aware. So what it means is that because we wanted to sell at 60, now we have opportunity to sell it at 120, right?
Yeah.
So we will be making a windfall of about 100% windfall. So first we would have sold 60. Now the Russia-Ukraine has made the price to go high. So we have opportunity to now sell our crude at $160,000. So we are having ×2 of what we expected to sell. So it gave us a profit. But I have never heard them telling us the windfall that we had because of the Russian-Ukraine war. Rather, they keep
you will never get that. Even with the COVID,
they
the
keep
amount,
complaining.
the
Yes.
COVID, the amount that they received, they never told us the profit they made. They only kept crying the impact of COVID.
Yes. No, you see, this government, they are like, let me use this word, they are kids. And kids is in quotations because John Mahama was there before them. So I want to use John Mahama as a father and use them as a kid. They are kids that their father bequeathed to them assets and liabilities. But as irresponsible as they are and not appreciative of the work of their father, they keep going to the market telling people of the liabilities their father left to them, rather and keeping the assets which their father left to them. And that is a mark of an irresponsible child, a mark of a child who doesn't value things that has been bequeathed to them. And that is what the MPP is doing. They keep touting the negatives, but we never talk about the positives. Brother, do you know, in my last, before I end, do you know the impact of the introduction of the 2 extra oil fields that John Mahama added to our drills as a country, for which today we have 3 oil fields? It is due to that prior to 2016 election, the World Bank, IMF, Fitch, and all rating companies were rating Ghana to have a good economic growth going forward 2017 and 2018. But when they came and the economy grew well, they gave that credit to themselves. Forgetting that they were all at the back of the oil or the well that John Mahama bequeathed to them. In conclusion, Ghanaians are wise now. Ghanaians, we have to wise up and open our minds. If for nothing at all, we have seen the bizarre performance of this government in every sector of this economy. John Mahama is tried and tested. We know what he has done in all the sectors of our country, i.e. the educational sector, the health sector, the railway sector, the aviation sector, the infrastructure sector, name it. So it is not now that somebody is coming to tell you the worth of John Mahama. We know it already. And this is the man, we have to give him the second chance to come and alleviate us from our suffering, to come and take us to the promised land. He has done it before and he can do it. In the local dialect, they say, "The offer and a piano. The away be piano and a friend a biafo." John Mahama has done it before and he can do it. He can do it. Sorry. Thank you very much.
We are very grateful to you, Mr. Mahama, for the wonderful presentation. You see, Mr. Mahama communicates for the National Democratic Congress. He's a member of the National Communication Team, and is as well the member of the Greater Accra Regional Communication Team. And I know this is a wonderful...
And possibly
the communication...
Possibly realizing our boost take part, God willing, in the upcoming internal election at the regional level, which is specifically in the Greater Accra region. When we are done with our consultation, at the time where the party has officially opened for campaign and nomination, for all of us to put to bear our intent, should the consultation arrive on a good note, we will avail ourselves to contest for the position of the Greater Accra Regional Communication Officer in our upcoming regional election. We need your support. We need your prayers. It's not easy. It is all for the betterment of the country that we sought to serve and for the betterment of the NDC that we all belong to. So if anything, you can channel it through the host, be it wanting to talk to me or any support in any kind of form. And I think my brother, my co-northern brother, will do the needful. My brother, thank you very much for the opportunity. I know you'll never turn your back at me. In the absence of TV and radio, I know you can work for me. So to be able to raise some financial support in this regard, I'll be very glad in that regard.
It's a pleasure. We'll see how it works out. And I will say a good evening to Stephen Crunchy, watching us live from Hanover. Our comrade Lujimila is also part of the show this evening. Good show. I'm watching you live from Hamburg. I'm Patricia once again, feeling inspired with your submission, comrade Gordon. Pat again, bravo. Let them throw sun. Ghanaians are descending now. Great job. NDC Diaspora Union. Well said, comrade Mahama. Having said that, then we'll draw down the curtains on this evening's program and will serve as a reminder to all our viewers, and especially with this announcement going to the members of the NDC within the German chapter. Now, on the 13th of next month, you'll be meeting in Frankfurt to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the passing of Professor Mills and to grill off COVID and put ourselves together. And on behalf of the chapter, I want to extend our heartfelt greetings and congratulations to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who celebrates the 30th anniversary of his marriage with a wife, currently there in Buole, and we are very grateful to God for all the good things that He has shown in their life, for their children, and for the future of Mother Ghana. Wherever you are, we are very grateful to you for joining us, especially our viewers from Facebook, right down to YouTube, wherever you are. Join us again once again next week, Monday, when we bring you another MyView. With it, I say good evening and have a blessed week.
So dogo vinwa bem mampam oso antie nani amuka nyina guna swati move swara mampam oso antie move swara mampam oso antie. Once upon a time animal called mampam. Any king where them go bring 'em. Mampam said